want to show you the setup I have here with a digital temperature controller. Now it's on a honey warmer, which is just a gutted mini fridge, but I use this to melt crystallized honey, like in a 5-gallon bucket. I can set this to 150 degrees and put a whole bucket of honey in here for 3 days and it'll melt very nicely. I can melt wax at 180 degrees. If I get too much more, you can see things start melting. But I want to show you this digital controller. So here's a little thermal sensor just dangling here inside the mini fridge, and this little guy sits on top. Now, I built this, like I said, 10 or 12 years ago, and at the time I had a really hard time knowing what I needed and finding what I needed that wasn't hundreds of dollars. I think I gave $5 for this, and now when I look on eBay, there's a lot of things like this. This you can get for $8 or $9 on eBay. I'll put a link down below. And there's others like it, so this isn't your only option, but this does some really cool things. So basically, I can set a desired temperature, say 150 degrees, and it will hold it at 150 degrees minus some room for variation. And right now I have it set on 8 degrees. So it'll, if I set it to 150, it'll heat to 150, turn off, and when it gets down to 142, it'll turn back on again and cycle like that. When I first set it up, I set it within 1 or 2 degrees, and the light bulb was turning on and off so much, it didn't last very long. Now this brand is WILLHI, Digital Temperature Controller, model WH7016C. And you can see there are some options. AC looks like 220, AC 110, DC 12 volt, DC 24 volt. So you have to match it to the one you want. And like I said, this exact same one is available on eBay. I found it just a minute ago. And let me show you a few features. It does more than I use it for, but let me show you the things that it does. So I'll plug it in. Well, let me show you. I just have it wired. I have AC power, just a regular plug running in the back, and I couldn't tell you now how I wired it. I just read the wiring diagrams and figured it out, but basically it's just a switch. The switches power to then this cable that runs down to my light bulb down below. So it's using AC power from my house, and just acts as a switch. So let me plug it in. Okay, right now I have it set to, it's 69 degrees in there. So I have it set to 76. So because of that 8-degree deviation, it will not turn on until it gets down to 68. So I'm gonna leave the door open here because it's about 63 degrees in my basement. And we'll wait and see if that drops to below 68, and it'll probably kick on. Now, while we wait, I'll just show you briefly some of the settings. You can see I have it set to 76. Now, if I hold this set button down, there's some options. So that's the heat cool. So if I hit set again, I can set to heat or cool. I'm heating. And then I can scroll. I think that's an alarm maybe. There's a lot of options. I actually don't know. Oops. no, one of these is the temperature. Oh, HS. I have it set to 180 degrees, so it cannot heat above 180 degrees. So if the kids were to, push buttons, change the temperature, it would cut off at 180. But I think the range on this thing is like minus 50 Fahrenheit to, 250 to something like that. Oops. But the one other setting I want to show you is this D. I don't know if that means deviation, but that's set at 8 degrees. So like I said, it'll cycle. When it gets 8 degrees below my target temperature, it'll kick on. Oh, And there it goes, because we just got below 68, so we're at 67.8. So light turned on. I shut that door. When it gets up to 76, it should then, which again, 76 is my target temperature, it should then turn off. Okay, we're about there. Now I don't want to open the door, but you can see it is definitely on. Oh, hit 76 and it turned off. Now if I open it up, of course it'll start cooling down, but it will not turn on again because I set it at that 8-degree delay or deviation. It won't kick on until it gets below 68. Last thing I don't think I showed you is just to set the temperature. It's real simple. Like I said, I usually melt honey at 150. And I melt wax at 180, which is a little bit hot for this. As you can see, some melting and burning, but yep, now it just kicked on because it's 75 degrees in there and I set it to 150. Works pretty slick.